Boop. Boopy bippin' zoppity. Just breaking down walls. Anything over here? Yeah, you need to come this way, I do believe. No, well, you don't have to go this way just yet. Actually, I'm going to take you with me. There are other places for this this newfound friend of mine to go, this Iron Giant. That's a movie I haven't seen, and I probably should. I've been thinking about The Incredibles recently, and I know that Brad Bird directed both that and Iron Giant. But, yeah, Iron Giant, I'm not very familiar with it. I get the sort of plot of it. It's kind of hard for me to picture, like, how it could be anything but a sad movie. Which wouldn't make it bad, necessarily. But I just have no idea how it ends. I just know there's a kid, and there's a giant iron guy, and that's it. That is all I know. And it's well animated. It's probably like... Why am I just drawing a blank? Who is the animator's name who has, who did all the Dragon Quest stuff? Or the Dragon's Lair, I guess. And Space Quest. Did I ever check what's in this chest? It's probably like the compass. Did I ever get the compass? Nope, I didn't. Not that it has much purpose anymore, because we've kind of gone through most of the dungeon now. But, oh well, that's cool. And for good measure, break this stuff, because endless destruction is great. Let's play Rampage. I don't think we ever used to own Rampage on the Nintendo 64. I think that we probably rented it a few times, and were never really that impressed with it, but it's part of my in-the-back-of-my-mind memories of childhood. Just huge monsters in a city beating each other up. And now that it's been replaced with Super Smash Bros. Melee, with not as huge creatures beating each other up in cities. And various other locations. Wait. Counterclockwise is down. Clockwise is up. This isn't clockwise, is it? Yeah, it's clockwise. He has such a mighty pose. Just look at him. This knightly figure that we're having follow us around. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't really bring it up, but the Temple of the Time, the Temple of the Time. Oh, look at the time. In this case, it's in the past. It's in the distant past. So, maybe nobody has ever talked about this game not having time travel in it, because there is very obviously time travel here that I haven't really... Like, I just forgot to mention it because it's not really emphasized that much. But I need to move so I stop getting beaten in the face by this hammer. But, no? It's gotta hurt. It's like Link's entire neck just gets snapped in half every time he gets hit with that hammer. Yeah, we're in the distant past, which is why this Dominion Rod of ours... Would you stop that statue who is obeying my every command, so really it's my fault? I am controlling someone who is controlling someone else. I'm controlling Link, who controls the statue. So that's where the statue needs to go, but I'm going to ignore that, because there is another thing for us to get over here. I think it's another Poe. Another Poe to pwn. I'm just gonna try to ignore everyone over here. No, I'm not gonna ignore them. You've made it impossible. Alright. I will thrust my sword upon your heart, and then use it for oatmeal raisin cake. Is oatmeal raisin cake a thing? I don't think it is. Also, I think I forgot to go back into that room. Why aren't you... Link just doesn't want to cooperate today. Tear out your gizzard. I'm gonna blow a gasket or something. That was an irrelevant quote. What was I saying about Incredibles? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Iron Giant and how it relates to the Incredibles. Well, I was just thinking of random Incredibles quotes recently. Specifically because like, this is just stupid stuff that I do at night, but sometimes if I'm tired in the night, I'll just go to the kitchen and eat something. Usually I'll grab some kind of, like... Well, recently it was an oatmeal raisin cookie, I guess, is why I was thinking of oatmeal raisin things. Maybe it was just an oatmeal cookie, no raisins, but... I got one, and then it made me think, because I was just kind of by myself at night, going to get food. Let's see, is there a room that I missed up here? I could go back up. I'm gonna go back up. I should probably do that. Just to see what's up there at the very least. Yeah, I got that cookie, and I thought, wow, this is just like that scene from The Incredibles where Bob comes back and eats a brownie, forgetting that it was a brownie instead of a cookie. That's the part where Helen says, you said you'd be back by 11. I said I'd be back late. I assumed you'd be back late. If you were back at all, you'd be back late. Well, I'm back, okay? And she comes up to him and just notices this tiny rock on his shoulder, and she says, is this rubble? It's just a little water. Swallows the entire brownie in one bite. And I think I took inspiration from that scene with Dante's Inferno with Mario, which is the weirdest thing that I've ever made, but it wasn't really my doing. My sister wrote the script. It was for a project that she was supposed to do, and I did it instead. Because she doesn't know how to animate. Oh gosh, is there a faster way up here besides the sequence breaking that I couldn't do? This is just going to be the slowest part of this whole session. It's going to be great, and it's going to end up being worthless. It's just going to be like 2 rupees. Or it's going to be, like a pound of pocket lint. And then it turns out that the pound of pocket lint is what saves us in the very end of the game. Bakery. Alright, I guess I have to go back down again. Monotony to the extreme, yo. Check out this rad business. Look at Link's hat. I don't think that's quite how gravity works, but I'm glad that it works the way it does in this game, because it's just humorous. And come to think of it, I'm now realizing I talked about OK Go earlier. I watched one of their music videos where they... no idea what the music was, but it was cool because they recorded the video in a space shuttle or some kind of aircraft that... well, I know that there's some aircrafts that go up really fast and then go down really fast. And I can't remember which way has high gravity and which way has zero gravity. I assume whenever it goes down, that's zero gravity. And they recorded the whole thing with zero gravity in one of those aircrafts. And that was cool. And I'm imagining what it must be like to be in one of those kinds of space shuttles. Well, I don't know if it's a space shuttle because it doesn't go to space, but... I imagine that it is cool. It's just like space travel is not what it's like in the movies, because you can't just, like, swim in the air. I am really taking a beating. It is excellent. From the most inconsequential of creatures. Just these little tiny spider things, these spiderlings and spider things. I think spiderling is a fun word. Great, we're gonna have beepies now. We're gonna have the beepy bleepies going on. Probably didn't have to go all the way up here to initiate this, but oh well, I did it anyway. I remember trying to do some sequence breaking in this room, trying to get those switches down before getting the Dominion Rod, and I think I got it to work, actually. I got that treasure chest to show up, and it was way more effort than it was worth, but I felt satisfied whenever I did it, so that's good enough for me. Because sometimes you just have to do something for the satisfaction of it, even if there's no real reward. Why am I taking such a beating against these things? It's like... It's kind of like walking into a room with one mosquito and then dying. Like having it suck out literally every ounce of blood from your body. That's what it feels like. But it all just got refilled because there was a piece of heart there. I'm glad that I checked what that was, because I didn't think it was a piece of heart, but it turns out that that was much more useful than a pound of pocket lint. Moving onwards. There's the bell again, the big bell, the bell of Fraggle Rock. Carol of the Bells. Daryl of the Bells. Just bring in someone named Daryl, and then the joke will be relevant. Like the little hopping around behind me. And if he doesn't want to follow you whenever you're on a wall, just kind of wiggle around a little and he'll do his thing, and it'll be slightly less trouble than undoing the control and doing it again. Control is another, like, controlling of other objects. Was also something done in Wind Waker, I guess, but I feel like this game does it in a more efficient and also more interesting way. My friend Jordan, Wind Waker is his favorite game of the Zelda series. And part of the reason for that, or maybe a big reason for that, is because the items are not entirely useless in Wind Waker. Like, they're really useful in combat, they're not just useful for puzzles. And I can definitely see that. Like, in this game, I can't really imagine a situation in which you'd really use the hook shot for any kind of combat. But I've tried using the spinner a couple times, and, well, it's not all that useful. Ball and chain is useful. Arrows can be useful. But I guess that's mostly it. But I don't know. I still feel like the items in this game are useful enough in combat, and the sword by itself has way more engaging combat than Wind Waker does, so all in all, I think the combat in this game is the best. And then Skyward Sword is an entirely different beast. Hard to really... There's not really a reason to talk about it. I've said everything that there is to be said before, I guess. And if I haven't, then whatever I would have said has already been said. This room. It's not as menacing as it looks, but I like how menacing it looks. It's just kind of unnecessary. Like, why is this room here? Just this big corridor of death. And I think, yeah, got through it without a scratch. It's like, if this is supposed to be guarding something of great importance, I feel like, it could have done a little bit better with the security. Because it wasn't that hard to get through. yeah, we're at the boss now. I want to get out my bottle, because there is a fairy here. We have trapped the fairy in this bottle, and it will slowly suffocate in there, which is always good. And there's not really much to say about this boss fight either, because it's, again, just like the room we just went through, looks menacing, but is not really all that menacing. If you're an arachnophobe, then this is probably not going to be a pretty sight. I forget what the name of this boss is. I know it has Goma in it, but I can't remember. Is Goma just the word in Zelda used for anything with one eye? It doesn't even seem to have one eye, since it has 4 eyes in its front as well. Yep, Armogoma. Which I crappily took a JPEG of in the Esotericism of Bargo 1. Ocarina typewriter. Alright, whenever you want to stop would be excellent. Stop right there. Nope, okay, you're just gonna keep moving. I've got my eye on your eye. No, any time now. We could do this all day. There we go. We didn't have to do it all day. Actually, if it took all day, then this boss fight would probably become more difficult because you need the daylight. Daylight is part of this... Well, maybe it's not actually the daylight, but there is daylight in the battle that indicates when Armogoma here is, you know... Armogoma has, like, a bumblebee for a butt. Bumblebutt. There's that phrase in the Markiplier stream that I didn't understand because I didn't watch it. I'm sorry, Mark. I just didn't. I was doing other things, like studying for tests. Boom. There's that triumphant music again. That has got to hurt. Just right in the stomach punch. I think the most menacing Goma of all is still Ocarina's. Maybe because of the weird, crazy colors. Because colors can make for powerful moods. And there's not much color in this room. So I guess this would be the logical argument for this game having too much brown. Even though it's not really much brown, it's just a lot of gray in this room. Whoa, where's that fire coming from? Oh, I forgot that this move existed! Yeah. Armogoma has just lasers, I guess. Okay. That happened. I think secretly I like spiders. I don't know if I like them necessarily whenever they're just in my room and I'm disturbed by their presence, but I like them as a concept. Creepy crawlies. And what is this? Just what is this? So now we are at the second phase of the battle. It is perhaps the most difficult battle of the game. And it's over now. That was it. It's really stupid. Again, this game is just sometimes unabashedly stupid. But that's great. I'm glad that it's stupid. Kind of takes out some of the impact of this next line by Midna, though. We have our mirror shard. 3 of the mirror shards are ours. Just 1 left. Link, you saw how nasty that monster was, right? The evil within the shards is more powerful than you can imagine, and that boss took 2 seconds to beat. The second phase of it did. The first phase was also not very hard. But the second phase was just pathetic. So I'm not really seeing much of the power here, unless that was a normal, regular, everyday, run-of-the-mill spider before. And even then, it's just, I don't know. Now tell me whenever you see the spider in Lord of the Rings, and then I'll believe you. Alrighty then, I think that will do it for this ridiculous recording session of unimaginable success and failure. And I will see you next time we play Twilight Princess, hopefully not in 4 months.